Heyo, and what is up, Sledge Nation? Thank you for checking out Sledgehammer TV tonight. You know, last night WWE put on Extreme Rules. It wasn't really that extreme, but it was 3 hours of quality action. I was pretty entertained, and the in-ring quality was very, very good. Tonight, they followed that up with an episode of Monday Night Raw that was 3 hours of action that was nowhere near what we got last night. It wasn't that good, as usual on Monday Night Raw for the most part. We had 3 pretty high quality matches, and they did some interesting things here and there, but does any of it even matter, as this might be one of the most inconsequential episodes of Raw we ever seen, with the draft looming heavy over the heads of everybody on the roster? Does anything that happened tonight even matter when we sit here 1 week from today at the conclusion of the draft? Who knows? But we're going to talk about it all, and we are going to do that right here and right now. My name is Nick Nightmare. You are watching the Sledgehammer Wrestling Show's Monday Night Raw review right here on Sledgehammer TV. It's time to bring the hammer down. Let's do it.
Sledgehammer Wrestling Show.
Well, who would have thunk that the WWE would actually come to their senses and realize, hey, we made a huge mistake. We made a huge mistake months ago when we broke up the Hurt Business, because look where we are right now. Wouldn't it be great if Bobby Lashley had a faction of his own now that he's going one-on-one with Big E and he's back with the New Day, even though they were split, but now they're back together for some reason, even though the draft didn't happen yet. Whatever, we can be forgiving of all of that, because when Big E and Bobby Lashley get in the ring, as they did tonight, the action is fantastic. These two guys are superstars, and the WWE did the right thing, and they brought the Hurt Business back to the side of Bobby Lashley right at the start of tonight's episode of Monday Night Raw, as just like Big E promised at the pay-per-view last night, he started off the show with his World Championship defense against Bobby Lashley, but in true WWE fashion, even though the action here between these two Goliath men was absolutely fantastic, big, meaty men slapping their meaty meat against each other. That sounded terrible. Let's forget that I said anything about slapping meats. That sounds horrendous. But you get what I'm talking about. We had the immovable object and the irresistible. No, let's not do that either, because that's the Nia Jax thing now, so we don't want to. You know what? We had 2 fucking fantastic athletes going at it, and it was a great encounter. Every time these guys touch hands, it's a great match, and they proved that twice tonight, because the first match wasn't going to be good enough. As I said, the Hurt Business showed up wearing t-shirts. Shelton Benjamin, Cedric Alexander, MVP still sidelined. He wasn't there, but the Hurt Business was back in business, and they were there to support their leader, Bobby Lashley. And this would cause the New Day to come out and make sure there was no shenanigans going on, and the whole thing would end up getting thrown out as the ref was losing control of the situation, and the match was pretty much called off. But then the GM, who's not the GM but acts as the GM, Adam Pearce, shows up, and he's like, oh no, this is not going to happen this way. And just when I thought he was going to give us a Teddy Long special, he pulls a steel cage out of his ass and says, we're going to finish this match tonight. We're going to finish it in the main event, and we're going to finish it inside of a steel cage so that the Hurt Business and the New Day can't get involved, and we can settle this once and for all with Big E and Bobby Lashley. And I'm all in. I'm all in already. Raw was off to a fantastic start. We're going to have a great main event. I didn't mind what they did here, but things went downhill really fast, because unless you were Big E and Bobby Lashley, or unless you were the United States Championship match, or you were AJ Styles and Matt Riddle, if you wrestled on the show tonight, you probably only wrestled for 2 minutes. The average match time for the majority of this card is 2 minutes or less. There is one match on this card that was a little bit more generous, going a little bit more towards the 5-minute mark. But for the most part, everything they threw at you tonight, in the ring anyway, was wrapped up in 2 minutes. A very stark contrast to what we had last night at Extreme Rules. 3 hours of full-on action where everybody came out and performed their asses off. All the talent worked fantastic last night. That's not to say they didn't do a good job tonight, but nobody barely had any time to do anything, because you know what happens when it comes to Monday Night Raw. We ain't got time for wrestling. We ain't got time to do proper storylines and angles and have things that make sense. We're just going to throw shit at you. It's going to have no explanation, no rhyme or reason to it, and you're just going to accept it because you're a stupid WWE fan, and we're going to go forward. And I say that because there was zero explanation, zero reason, zero anything to give us any inclination as to why the Hurt Business was back in business. They just threw it out there. Oh, here they are, and they're in their t-shirts. I guess they're back in business. The only thing I could think of at this point is, man, this is almost exactly the kind of feelings and vibes I was getting when I was watching Star Wars in that fucking episode 9 shit, when Poe Dameron's just standing there and they were all like, oh, well, what's going on? And he's like, oh, well, I guess the Emperor just came back somehow. What do you mean, somehow? Oh, well, the Hurt Business is just here. We don't know why. Well, let's just accept it and go. I'm not going to complain about it too much because I was happy about it, but I mean, when you look at it, there's no reason for it. It comes out of left field. It comes just as out of left field as this tag team with Angel Garza and Humberto Carrillo, who now apparently are the two most handsome men in the world. I think what happened backstage is that Vince went to these guys and he was like, listen, Humberto, nobody likes you or your dimples. You didn't get over. You're gonna be a heel. You're gonna be cousins now. So, what's his name? Angel Garza. He's a ladies' man. So just do what he does, and we'll have two of you. You'll be Garza and Garza 2.0. I don't know why I turn into Boss Nass every time I do Vince McMahon. But listen, you get the point, right? Here was Humberto Carrillo. He was his own guy. He was his own character. He had his own dimples, and he wasn't getting over, and nothing was really happening for him. And they just said, all right, so we're going to make you do what this guy does. Team you with him, and now you're a Latin lover as well. So we got Angel Garza, the Latin lover with the rose, and I'm so handsome. And now we got Humberto. I got a rose too. I'm more handsome because I got dimples. And I bring this up because tonight we had Angel Garza in a singles match with one half of the Viking Raider, Warrior Raider, Warrior Raider, Raiders, Eric, who did have Ivar in his corner. But Angel Garza, a not very well established talent, right? He's got no titles under his wing. You know, he's known for ripping his pants off and giving roses to every fucking girl backstage. And he goes out there and beats Eric, a multiple-time tag team champion, former member of the War Raiders in NXT. Beats this guy in less than 2 minutes. Easily. Eric looked like he was a jobber here. This was practically a squash for Angel Garza. And him and his dimple cousins was all happy about it, and they were all handsome about it, and that was it. Real quick, I guess I could be grateful for that. They threw it at us. It didn't make sense. Came out of nowhere, but it's over. So now here's the Viking Raider, Warrior Raiders, who they were, I guess, kind of trying to build back up. Gave them a couple of wins on TV a couple of weeks ago, and now they're losing to Garza and Carrillo. Now, what does this mean? We're going to have Carrillo versus Ivar next week. Is Carrillo going to win there, or is Ivar going to win? And we're going to 50-50 book this to the tag team match where they'll probably give the win to Eric and Ivar, and undo everything that they're doing for Garza and Carrillo as well, because after all, this is Vince McMahon and the WWE, right? Oh my God. So then we had a little recap of everything that happened with Alexa Bliss and Charlotte Flair at Extreme Rules, and strangely enough, Alexa Bliss was not anywhere to be seen on this show. I don't know if at some point Lily popped up in the background, because I'm not that keen at observing things like that in the background. I'm not good at finding Easter eggs and things like that. But I'm pretty sure there was no sign of Alexa tonight, and that's very surprising to me, especially since Lily was ripped to shreds by Charlotte Flair last night, and there was no rebuttal, there was no interview. You know, the lights didn't flicker, they didn't do any weird, freaky, magic-y shit when Charlotte was on the show tonight. I guess that's just over now, so I'm going to take that, and I'm going to apply something to that with my brain. And I'm going to say the only reason that they didn't do that and didn't follow up on that angle at all is probably because I would bet that Alexa's probably going to be traded to SmackDown. And SmackDown's got enough going on over there, but who knows what's in store for us with this draft. But Alexa not being there tonight is a strong indication to me that she's probably going to be shifting brands. And I don't know what the hell they're doing with the women's division on either show. For the most part, I mean, SmackDown's got their shit together in the main event scene. We got Becky Lynch, we got Bianca, and we got Sasha Banks. That's fine. It's everything outside of that one story that's a complete hot mess. And I don't even know if a shakeup would fix things. So all it's going to do is take the garbage from this show and put it on that show, and take the garbage from this show and put it on that show. In which case, nothing really changed. You just gave each other, you're just watching the same garbage on a different show. I don't want to see that happen, but it has happened before. WWE is known for turning things into garbage. Look at Ricochet. Ricochet, talk about a fall from grace. This guy went from wrestling big time matches, wrestling in the tag team division with Aleister Black for some reason. Then he had some real good matches with AJ Styles. You know, he was the first ever North American champion for NXT. And now here he is, falling all the way down to sharing television time with Drake Maverick. Get out of here, Drake Maverick. Nobody wants to see you here. I keep looking in this corner, so I probably should make him pop up over here. You know what, Drake Maverick? Put your thumb down, because you're ruining Ricochet. How could you have him in the 24/7 segment? He's way better than any of that. And why are you, Mr. Drake Maverick? Put your thumb down, sir. Why are you the leader of the 24/7 brigade? Get out of here, Drake Maverick. Get out of here. What is going on? Why is this happening? We have Reginald versus Ricochet. An actual 24/7 championship match was booked for this show. This match barely went 1 minute before it got into disqualification nonsense because Drake Maverick, do not pop up again, Drake Maverick, had the whole goon squad out there. Every single jobber that he could have with him. The whole 24/7 clown cavalcade parade, they're all sitting there and they all got up like one big gang and they decide that they were going to try to attack Reginald, and it just got thrown out and it was just a DQ, and it was just, why am I watching this? You seriously thought it was important enough to waste even a minute and a half on this crap just to put Reggie on TV? No thanks. If I wanted to see flips and shit like that, I'd just go to Cirque du Soleil. Is that even running right now with the cup? Probably not, but you understand my point. If I want to see a circus act, I can go watch one on YouTube. I don't need to see fucking Reggie flipping around with the gold-plated avocado-colored championship belt. Kevin Patrick had a tough night tonight. Kevin Patrick is the extremely tall WWE backstage interviewer guy who has to do interviews in a crouching position because he's significantly taller than the talent, and Vince does not like that. So, he does his little weird sideways, I'm pretending to be short walk into every segment now. And I can't help but laugh at this actual fact. And he was interviewing Riddle, who did his Riddle shtick, talking about how he misses Randy Orton. He said, Randy told me that he needed a break, man, or else he's going to RKO him out of the country, man, and whatever. He continued to ramble on nonsensically, as Riddle does. And then he realized that Omos and AJ Styles were standing behind him, and then they all just stared at each other like they just hit a fat blunt and didn't know what to say. And they all just stared at each other, and then on with the show we go. Apparently, throughout that segment and throughout the commercial break, Akira Tozawa decided, I'm not going to be a 24/7 jackass anymore. Maybe, I don't know, but he decided to stick around. He's standing in the middle of the ring, and he wanted a match against R-Truth or Drew Gulak or Drake Maverick, because they're getting in the way of his championship aspirations for the worthless championship that's actually a joke. It's not even a championship. I think in the eyes of most people, you'd be a fool to really put stake in the 24/7 championship. Although steak and avocado does pair well and taste delicious together. I digress. He makes this challenge out to all the 24/7 clowns, and out comes Keith the Bearcat Lee. Now I understand, or at least there's a thought floating around that the WWE is doing this, paying homage to former pro wrestlers who also happen to be African American and use the name Bearcat as their name. Similar to other superstars like the Big Cat, Ernie Ladd. They're trying to take something that has been used before, make it new, make it relevant. I mean, I guess it would be cool if maybe like the Bearcat was the team of Keith Lee's college, football team or wrestling team or whatever he was part of, if that's applicable. Or if it was like the official animal of Keith Lee's home state, or, something personable, something that makes it connect to him. Otherwise, it just seems completely fucking random. You might as well have called him the Turtle Dove. He's the turtle. There's two animal names that shouldn't go together that you do. It doesn't sound very menacing, but, it goes together about as well as Bearcat. You got the Turtle Dove, Keith Lee. Did you ever see a Bearcat? I looked it up. I didn't put the picture here to pull it up for you now. I apologize for that. But they're not very threatening. They're not very scary. I don't mean it to come down on it disrespectfully, because I'm not trying to disrespect the people that have used the name in the past. All I'm saying is, in 2021, I don't think people give a shit what a Bearcat is. I don't think they know what a fucking Bearcat is. Nobody knows about the history attached to the Bearcat and the pro wrestling and the names of the people of the past. So it can't possibly really be about any of those things. And then you got Keith Lee coming out looking like a cross between Kane and Mark Henry, instead of looking like Keith Lee. And we know what he looks like because we've seen him in NXT. And why they couldn't just take that and run with it here, I don't know. And I don't dislike it. It's not that I hate that they're calling him Bearcat, or it just really comes out of nowhere. And once again, the theme of tonight's show, I guess, is how WWE just throws things out there seemingly out of nowhere with no explanation. Just like the explanation they give us for the Return of the Emperor in Star Wars. Oh, it somehow happened. Well, Keith is now just the Bearcat. He didn't give a promo saying why. He didn't come up with some cool thing saying, well, I'm big like a bear, but I'm quick like a cat, so I want to be the Bearcat. No, we didn't see anything like that. He just came out, he's got his name on his ass, and he's got slashes in his things, and it just, okay. You're a Bearcat now. And then he squashed Akira Tozawa in 36 seconds. Okay. Is he a heel? Is that why he did this? He's a bad guy now. They're going to do the Braun Strowman with him. They're just going to have him come out week after week and squash little good guys. Until what? Until he faces Lashley or Big E or something? Or what? Okay. I love Keith Lee. I'm one of his biggest fans. And I just don't like the way they book him. I don't understand how they don't understand who he is. And what he is. And what he can do. Vince sees him and sees a fucking bear cat. Okay. Thankfully, business was about to pick up because we had the United States Championship match. Now, before we get into this, I have to drop the hammer on this, and because it's so obvious. They make it so easy for me to do this job sometimes, because last night was Extreme Rules. And the day after Extreme Rules is when you decide to book a U.S. title match with extreme stipulations. Last night, it was a triple threat match, which means there was no disqualification, no count out, no nothing like that. But they did not take advantage of that at all. There was not a hardcore scenario to be found, which was pretty weird to me, considering that the Master of Extreme, Jeff Hardy, was involved in that match. There was no ladder pulled out. There was nothing. Absolutely nothing. And they realized once again, oh shit, remember how we fucked up with the Hurt Business? Well, we fucked up again with that match last night. So let's give them a no disqualification clause in the United States Championship match on the show after the pay-per-view we have, that's theme is to be extreme. And to have matches like no disqualification matches, street fights, things of that nature. But they didn't do any of that. Remember last night when I was like, oh, imagine if Bobby Lashley actually had a stable, blah, blah, blah. Well, we could do that again here. Imagine if WWE had a pay-per-view that they put on during the year where you could have special matches like that. Yeah, they do. It's called Extreme Rules, and it was yesterday. This match belonged on the card yesterday. But, again, I'm not going to complain too much because this was one of the 3 matches tonight that are almost all tied, in my opinion, for match of the night, because each match delivered in different ways, in big ways, and we had clean wins at the end, at least in this situation and in the main event later. The no disqualification match saw Damian Priest defend his championship once again against Sheamus. These guys beat the shit out of each other. You want to see a stiff beating? Go watch this match, because these guys did not hold back. They were laying in beautifully. This was a masterful, beautiful match of chaos and destruction and toughness. We had table spots. We had kendo sticks. We had chairs. We had everything you would have expected to see last night. And we had it all done very well with 2 hard-hitting, really strong, really tremendous talents. Damian Priest took a huge step up tonight. This is a big win that he needed versus a big opponent like Sheamus. I love Sheamus. He has been probably the single best thing as far as an in-ring perspective standpoint throughout the last year and a half. Throughout the pandemic, for at least the last 6 months, Sheamus has been consistent. He's been putting on great matches week after week. This is another one, and he put over Damian Priest tremendously. I loved this match They beat the crap out of each other, and I love seeing guys go hard in the ring like that, taking no prisoners and just throwing it out there for the crowd. These guys are like next level. You watch a match like this, and you could easily believe Sheamus versus a Big E, or Sheamus versus Bobby Lashley, and conversely, Damian Priest as well. This was a great match for both men. They came out looking fantastic. Even Sheamus in the loss looks like a badass. Once again, fantastic job with this match. 5 hammers to the head in a good way. All right, this was fucking fantastic, and I wish there was more of this. Yeah, we've seen Sheamus and Priest time and time again in this feud, but I have to believe that this is the end of it. And hopefully Sheamus goes over to SmackDown from here. I think that's what Sheamus would need. Go back over there would be nice. Or maybe even switch up the Intercontinental and the United States once again. Send Damian Priest over to SmackDown with the United States Championship. Really change things up around there as well. I'd be fine with it. Both of these guys really delivered fantastic tonight. However, my high from here was quickly dropped down low because Mustafa Ali and Mansoor were backstage and they were talking about the fact that Jeff Hardy is going to be their tag team partner in a absolutely meaningless 6-man tag team match that's going to take place tonight. Apparently, Mansoor's not happy about it. I'm sorry, Ali's not happy about it. Mansoor's trying to put it over, telling him, "What are you kidding? This is great. It's Jeff Hardy." And then he starts doing the whole hand gesture thing or whatever. And then, Jeff Hardy shows up right behind them. And then they go out. They're all happy they're going to be able to beat up Jinder Mahal tonight. Whatever. During this segment, they decided to tell us, hey, Bill Goldberg's going to fucking be here and he's got something to say. And I could care less. I cared less about that I did about the 6-man we were about to see. It was a waste of time. This match barely scathed the 5-minute mark, and it was nothing. It was nothing. It was a few little high spots from Jeff, and then Schmear from Jinder Mahal's team. You had Jinder, Schmear, and Stanky versus Mansoor, Mustafa, and Jeff Hardy. And 24 hours after being in the ring, wrestling for the United States Championship, Jeff Hardy's in this meaningless match where his team loses. And this was very confusing to me because of the way that they booked this matchup. At the finish, there was a spot on the outside where the heels were taking the advantage, right? Jinder was outside with Stanky, and they were beating up Jeff Hardy, and they were beating up Mansoor. And Mansoor made a comeback of some sort, right? And it looked like that they were about to overcome the heels on the outside when suddenly the match was continuing inside the ring, and Schmear, or Veer if you want to call him by his real name, pinned Ali after a clothesline, which didn't really look like much. And then it was over. And I'm sitting here going, why didn't anybody stop the count? His 2 partners were outside. They were not incapacitated the last time I remembered seeing them out there. In fact, they were gaining the advantage. So why didn't they just save their team from the match? And it was Ali that was in there that got pinned. So maybe that's the story they're trying to tell. Maybe Ali's going to be pissed that he didn't get saved by his 2 partners, and they're going to continue that. But once again, another storyline throughout Raw tonight is, as I'm watching all this, does it matter? Is Mansoor going to be split from Mustafa next week? Are Jinder, Schmear, and Stanky going to even be a stable after next week? Does any of this matter? Does Jeff Hardy even care anymore? I'm starting to think he doesn't. I think Jeff Hardy knows he's there for a paycheck. I think he's going to do what his boss tells him to do. He's going to have fun doing it. And if the guy's going out there and having fun, even if they're only giving him 3 minutes to play, he's going to take advantage and play. And he's going to go home and go to the bank and cash his check. And good for Jeff Hardy. And as soon as his contract is up, he can go anywhere he wants. Most likely he'll do what he always does and follow his brother and have one last little resurgence in his career, and maybe that'll be the end of it for Jeff Hardy. I don't see it going anywhere for him from here. He's a glorified enhancement talent at this point. The guy's a certified Hall of Famer. They're treating him like an enhancement talent. It's a shame. It's also a shame that they don't know what the hell they're doing with Karrion Kross. Here's a guy that does promos in the back, all dressed in like this fancy all black suit, and then he starts talking and he just keeps saying words. Like, I can't make out what he's trying to say because nobody talks like that. The inconsequential, unremembered. Like, I know they were all words because I've heard them all used. I've just never heard them all used in the sentences that they were put together in. He was trying to be ominous. He was trying to be creepy, and I dig it, right? But we've seen them do this time and time again with the broody, creepy, dark character standing in the dark, wearing dark clothes, saying random, weird things. This is nothing new. We're not breaking any ground here. And then he goes from standing in the back in the suit in the dark with the creepy and the cryptic messages, and then he comes out to the ring dressed like Jason from the 1700s, or from ancient Roman times. Jason Voorhees, the gladiator. And then he beats Jackson Ryker in less than 2 minutes. Jackson Ryker, the guy that they just wasted Elias on, right? They used Elias to put over Jackson Ryker. He then disappeared from the face of the earth, and now he showed up to job out to Karrion Kross in 2 minutes. This was a waste of everybody's time. Did it do anything to make Karrion Kross look better? Do you give a shit that he beat Jackson Ryker and made him tap out? No, you don't. I know you don't. Because I didn't. Charlotte Flair was going to have an open challenge tonight, right? They advertised this. I seen it on Twitter all day, and then we get to the show. It's the first thing they talk about. Charlotte Flair is going to have an open challenge tonight. Blah, 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 blah. Because that's what WWE does when they don't have any ideas for what the fuck to do with their champion. And I'm already sitting here going, well, why aren't they following this up with anything with Alexa? Is Alexa going to answer the open challenge dressed as Lily? Is it going to be something weird like that? Is she going to have the open challenge and then we're going to have lights and spooky, ooky bullshit with Alexa? Who knew? But what I couldn't have expected is for them to be stupid enough to have the person who was going to answer the open challenge go and ask permission. Is that how an open challenge works? Do you have to ask permission, or do you just go answer the challenge? Why would Doudrop go and ask Sonya Deville and Adam Pearce if it would be okay if she would go and challenge Charlotte for the championship? It takes all of the excitement out of whatever little excitement you might have had for the fact that there was going to be an open challenge. It takes any of the guessing game out of it. When I first heard the open challenge was going to be there, I started to immediately think Shayna Baszler. She offed Nia Jax last week. They're obviously going to go in a different direction with her. So I thought that was going to be it. If not some weird new version of Alexa, or Alexa returning to her former self, I thought it was going to be Shayna. But instead we get Doudrop. And why does the WWE have this tendency to take the baby face in the scenario, especially when they are overweight and somewhat wiggly jiggly in the midsection, and make them dance around like fucking fools? Why do the fat guys gotta be clowns for everybody to fucking laugh at? Brodus Clay, Rikishi, Otis, and now Doudrop. Doudrop. She's dancing, moving all her shit, and shaking all over the place, and then fingers are wiggling and doing the thing. Why do we gotta do that? That's not insulting. Where's fucking woke culture there? Oh, why do you gotta make the fat people dance like clowns? Nobody gives a shit about that. They think that's funny. He's watching in the back and he's giggling at the wiggling and the jiggling. I don't get it. I also don't get why this is what they thought to do. Doudrop has been in here for a hiccup. All she's done is beat Eva Marie. Now she wants to challenge for the championship. There is no way she's going to beat Charlotte Flair, right? It's not going to happen. They could have at least made it interesting, but they decided not to even do that. They decided to make it ridiculous and stupid. But we'll get back to that in just a second. Because then the next match on the card was AJ Styles versus one half of the Raw Tag Team Champions, Matt Riddle. Yes, I'm going to drop and bring up the rematch alert because we have seen this match multiple times over. Yes. We know that they have great chemistry. Yes. But tonight's match was fucking great. This was an all-out, jam-packed, action-packed match. Styles and Riddle had a banger tonight. Almost as good, maybe just as good as the Priest-Sheamus match from earlier on. Really high quality work rate here from both men. I have to give them credit. Yeah, it's a rematch. Yeah, we've seen it before, but this was great. If you would have had this match for a championship on a pay-per-view, if you have Styles and Riddle outside of this tag team bullshit, seriously going after something big, man, if they could do this, what they did on Raw tonight for no reason, imagine if they had some high stakes to go after against each other. I'm all down for that. I would love it. Much like I would love for John Morrison to be involved with either one of these guys on television. Can you imagine Johnny Morrison versus Matt Riddle for the Intercontinental title or something like that? Conversely, Morrison and AJ Styles. Something that I want to see in my life. It would be beautiful. Conspicuous by his absence as well. Perhaps Johnny Drip Drip might be dripping his way to Friday night since he wasn't there tonight. But AJ Styles defeated Matt Riddle here. But much like how Sheamus didn't suffer, Matt Riddle did not suffer in this loss tonight because he looked fantastic here. These guys could have went another 10 minutes and I would have been fine with that. This was a great match. We don't get to say these words very often when we're reviewing Monday Night Raw, so we will relish in it when we can. Got an itch in my eye that just won't go away. I don't know what's going on there. So then we had the Charlotte Flair Doudrop match, and I didn't give a shit. This match barely got any time to do anything before Eva Marie came out. This was the dumbest thing of the night. I don't understand why WWE's got this thing where they make their talent look so fucking stupid. You know, they're in the middle of a match for a championship and then somebody's music plays and they turn around and stand there like, I wonder what's happening. Stay focused. You're in a championship match, you fucking idiot. Get on it. Get to it. But no, this was the same old shit. Charlotte hit the natural selection on Doudrop. Doudrop gets defeated already thanks to Eva Marie with the distraction finish. And I don't understand why this was needed. Why couldn't Charlotte and Doudrop have had a serious match? Give them 10 minutes. Give Doudrop a minute to shine. Show the world what she's capable of. Have her come close to beating Charlotte and then have her lose clean because, you know, she's just getting started. And that could be the starting point for her championship run coming up maybe 6 months from now or whatever. And you always go back to this. Her first championship opportunity, she came this close, but just didn't have enough to get the job done. And then finally, when she gets to it and beats Charlotte Flair, it's even bigger. But instead, no. Instead, they had to have Eva involved. This was really, really dumb. And I hated it. Then we had Goldberg. And Goldberg showed up on Raw tonight to threaten to murder Bobby Lashley. He literally said, hopefully, if I'm lucky, I'll kill you. If he's lucky. So he's looking at this as a good thing, all because Bobby Lashley put his hands on Gage Goldberg, who he wanted to tell us was his son. In case you didn't know, Gage was his son. Goldberg said it about 6 times in this promo. Gage Goldberg is my son. Yeah, we know. We know. What are you feeding that kid? What, you got him drinking Miracle Grow? Last time I seen that kid, he was about, he looked like he was 6. Now he looks like he's about to turn 22. We're talking about a span of like 3 years. Holy shit. Anyway, that was his message. He wants Bobby Lashley. He's not done with Bobby Lashley. He wants to kill him. He wants to kill Bobby Lashley. And they're setting this up so that Bobby Lashley and Bill Goldberg can have a match at the Crown Jewel shit pay-per-view that nobody gives a shit about. After Goldberg did all this, Eva Marie took her cue from Akira Tozawa. She stayed in the ring even though, everything was over. I don't know why. But she starts to say that if she had the same opportunity Doudrop had, she'd be walking around as the champion right now. This would bring out Shayna Baszler. Shayna Baszler would then attack Eva Marie and then do that little arm stompy thing she does to Eva Marie on the steel steps. Effectively, I guess, writing her off TV for a while? I don't know. I can't be mad at this. Because one, Shayna Baszler looks like the badass, villainous Shayna Baszler that we all know and love, and it's getting rid of Eva, apparently. Probably not. She'll probably show up for the next few weeks with her arm in a sling because, Vince wants to bang her probably, so she's gonna have the TV time because, she's a star in the making, I guess. I don't know. The dimmest star I've ever seen, at least in the wrestling world anyway. The funny thing about this was Shayna Baszler got tremendously over for doing this to Eva Marie because nobody likes Eva Marie. And it's kind of backfiring in a way. Vince thinks the crowd's going to boo. And instead she's being cheered for her attacks on Nia Jax and now subsequently Eva Marie. Maybe don't have the person you want to be a heel attack the people that the fans don't want to see, so maybe it'll actually work. But no, it didn't work. Just like Nikki, almost a superhero, and Rhea Ripley, the new women's tag team champions, they don't work. They're an odd couple. They had a promo in the back. They got to stop giving these girls promos because these are terrible. Terrible. Nikki Cross wants to wear matching outfits. Rhea Ripley apparently doesn't like the color blue, even though I'm pretty sure that was the shade of the eyeshadow she was using, or maybe that was just my TV. I don't know. I'm nitpicking. But Ripley wasn't interested in sharing costumes and, their super brutality, I guess they're being called. Shouldn't they be called almost brutality? Because she's not actually a superhero, right? She's almost a superhero. So shouldn't they be almost brutality? Let's wrap this up with the main event being the cage match. Big E defeated Bobby Lashley, retaining his WWE Championship belt. This match went nearly 20 minutes. We had to go through a couple of commercial breaks, of course. And it was interesting how they decided to get there. This match started outside the cage so that, they could pause for a commercial break. And then we came back from break. After Bobby Lashley beat the snot out of Big E outside the ring, it made its way inside the ring. Looked like Bobby was going to have the advantage over Big E since he gave him such a vicious pre-match attack, but the cage match got started. It was getting very good when we seen Big E was about to exit the ring, and the Hurt Business came out to stop him, which brought out the New Day, which made all the fun begin. We had some crazy spots. Kofi did his little back dive coffin drop thing off the cage onto the Hurt Business. It was very entertaining. That was another way to get us to go back to break, which brought us into the final stretch where we saw the finish of this match. Lashley tried to climb the cage, but Big E went up after him and hit the big ending off the second rope and got the pin in the middle of the cage. Great match. Good win for the champion in his first title defense. Looks like they're going to completely move away from what they did here, and it's a shame. And you can kind of tell, because they rushed this whole Big E Lashley thing. It's almost as if they didn't have the Big E cash-in planned at all. As we said, I have a strong feeling that Lashley was supposed to still be champion throughout this secondary program with Goldberg, but instead they decided to shift gears and go with Big E to shake things up and generate the pop and get the momentum in the media talking about WWE again. And it's kind of showing here, because now you did the reformation of the Hurt Business, the feud with the New Day and the Hurt Business, all in one night, and it all could come to a crashing halt because of the draft next week. This show ended as Big E was celebrating. He was interrupted by Drew McIntyre, who's also still a babyface last time I checked, so the babyface is coming out to confront the babyface. He points his sword at Big E, and then they went off the air. And that was Monday Night Raw. And there was, like I said, some interesting things, like the tease of Big E versus Drew, and the reformation of the Hurt Business, and 3 really excellent matches. But when we get to next week, was it all going to be like a one-off? Is the Hurt Business going to be split up before it even gets a chance to go again? Are they going to put the New Day back together, but then send Bobby Lashley to the other show? Like, all of this great work they did tonight with these things that seemed interesting could all be flushed down the tubes. And we're going to have to be tuned in next week to find out. Make sure you come here when the draft is all said and done, so that I can tell you all the good, the bad, the ugly, and bring the hammer down on everything poop hammer worthy. Because as we said earlier in this show, every year they do the draft, they pretty much just switch each other's trash. They don't make any real big moves that shift the landscape or make anything feel different. It's just going to make Raw feel like SmackDown, and SmackDown feel like Raw, until they both just feel like themselves again. I don't want that to be the case, but that seems to be what we're doing year after year. However, considering the fact that we're coming out of the pandemic, I think now is the perfect time to change it up. However, I mean, everything is still the same as it was from then. Let's start fresh. Let's start thinking new and do some different things. I don't have any faith in them to pull this off. I'm not getting my hopes up. I'm not trying to tell you to get your hopes up. But we'll have to wait and see. Thank you all so very much for being here once again. This has been your Monday Night Raw review right here on Sledgehammer TV. My name is Nick Nightmare. This is the team. Thor the Sledgehammer, the official Sledgehammer, the Sledgehammer Wrestling Show. His tag team partner, the World Heavyweight Champion of all the microphones in all the world, Mr. Blue, the Yeti microphone, the most important member of the team as always, each and every one of you. So it's your turn. Let's get interactive. And if you're not already a sledgehead of the Sledge Nation that resides here at Sledgehammer TV, that's a lot of sledges in one sentence, please hit that subscribe button right now and join the team. Like this video by hitting that thumbs up. Let me know you had a good time here with me today, and then share this video with each and every one of your wrestling buddies all over the wrestling world, especially if they need a place to come dump on the WWE safely and respectfully and have a good time doing it in the process. Thank you all so very much. If you missed anything, it'll be linked in the annotations up above, starting with the Extreme Rules review last night. If you missed it, go check it out. That's going to do it. We are out of here, and we will see you next time right here on your new favorite wrestling show, the Sledgehammer Wrestling Show, only on Sledgehammer TV, right here on YouTube.com, and we will see you this week for the draft. I'm scared. I'm so scared.